Hi, fourth graders. Today we are going to continue with making an inference about a text. Yesterday in class, we didn't read a story. We looked at a picture called The Trouble with Spring, and it was a poster of a woman that looked like she was about ready to sneeze because the background was full of blossoming trees in the spring. Yesterday I was able to visualize the woman and others sneezing to help me understand. But I can also visualize by imagining what people are feeling or places are like based on what the characters think, say, and do. I'm going to show you how to do this today. So our goal today is that we can make some inferences based about a text that we read. So here's what we want to do. When we make an inference, we want to use our background knowledge, what we already know. There's a fancy word for that, and it's called our schema. Then we're going to take the evidence from the story, which are the clues, and we are then going to make an inference based on what's in the story and what our background knowledge is. So that's how we make an inference. Here's another little example that we can look at. Readers develop inferences by noticing clues about the characters in the text. So we're going to look for text clues today about our character. Then we're going to take those clues and we're going to combine them with what we already know. And then we're going to try to make an inference. So the text is going to say, we're going to use our knowledge, and we're going to think the inference is this. So here's the story that we're going to read. We're going to keep in mind when we get done reading this story, what can we infer? Okay, here we go. A trip to the archives. Cameron gazed at the Washington Monument through the car window. The view from the top of that building had to be amazing. Dad, tell me again, what is an archive? It sounds kind of boring. An archive is a collection of historical information, like your scrapbook, answered Dad. Sounds great, muttered Cameron. So at the National Archives, I'll see a bunch of scrapbooks? As the day went on, Cameron viewed the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, and even Thomas Edison's patent for the electric light bulb. When his dad asked if he was ready to visit the Washington Monument, Cameron replied, "Not yet, Dad. Archives are more exciting than I thought." Okay, so we just read a little story about a boy named Cameron that's on a trip with his dad, and they are visiting some archives. So let's quickly talk about some inferences. Let's start with our first clue down at the bottom. I'm going to have to exit out because I can't maneuver the boxes unless if I exit out. So let's look at our first clue. In the text, it says, the view from the top of that building had to be amazing. They're talking about that right here in the first paragraph. So the view from the top had to be amazing. He's talking about the Washington Monument, and he's gazing out and looking at it through the car window. So the text says that the view had to be amazing. And I can tell, based on my knowledge, that the Washington Monument is pretty awesome. And that would be right over here. This is the Washington Monument. And so he's imagining himself sitting on the top of the Washington Monument and looking down. And he thinks that would be pretty amazing. So I can tell that Cameron is probably pretty excited that he wants to visit that Washington Monument. He can't wait. So I'm going to see if I'm right, if my inference was right. It says, oh, it doesn't say anything. Actually, I think I am right. So if I was to type this out, I would know that I was right. Cameron really wants to visit the Washington Monument. But now we have another clue in the story. Let's take a look at this clue right here. This clue says, it sounds kind of boring. Sounds great, muttered Cameron. So at the National Archives, I'll see a bunch of scrapbooks. So he's going to go and visit the archives first before he goes to the Washington Monument. And he doesn't want to go because he thinks it sounds super boring. And just reading about it and thinking about looking at a bunch of papers, that kind of sounds boring to me too. So I'm using my prior knowledge. I don't think that sounds very fun. And in the text, it doesn't sound like it's going to be very fun. But he actually finds that it is fun. And he gets to look at some pretty cool things like the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, and even Thomas Edison's patent for the electric light bulb, which is the original drawing of what the light bulb would have looked like. So I can infer that he doesn't want to go and visit at all. He does not want to visit the National Archives based on the text. So I made 2 inferences based on paragraph 1 and the paragraph here in the middle. So what I did as I was making those inferences is I was using my background knowledge, what I already know, and I was using clues from the story to make an inference based on what I felt would possibly happen. All right? Inferencing can be a little bit challenging. So I want you to think, how do you feel that you did today? Based on the reading, I can make an inference about a picture. Do you feel, yeah, I understand what Mrs. Griffey's doing. I can do this on my own. Give me a 3. I kind of understand, but I still need some help. Give me a 2. And I need help. Give me a 1. All right, you also are finished with today's assignment for inferencing. Now I need you to go and complete your 20 minutes of Read to Self.